Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. It is time for October favorites. Can you believe that October is over? I cannot believe it. We are in the holiday season basically. But today we're going to be talking about the things that I really loved during the month of October. I have so many great things to share with you guys today. I actually was so excited about some of these products that I wanted to film this video a little over a week ago because I felt like I was ready. I knew what I wanted to talk about. And luckily I did not do that because a couple of things snuck into this video into my heart over the last week that I am excited to share with you guys today. So I hope that you guys are excited about this one. We will get into these favorites, but before we do, if you are new to my channel, special welcome to you. I hope that you will consider subscribing if you have not done that yet. And let's talk about some really good makeup. Alright, so I want to start off with the one repeat item. Well, actually I think I have two repeat items in here. We'll talk about the two repeat items. The first one being the Milk Makeup Bronzer Stick. This was in my favorites video last month, but I wanted to mention it again because I am still loving this bronzer stick. I also mentioned the Wet n Wild one in that video, which I do also love. This one I think is a little bit better. I think it has a little bit better lasting power. It's not quite as warm as the Wet n Wild one is. So if you tried out the Wet n Wild Oaks on You bronzer, if you felt like it was a little bit too warm for you, this one is not quite as warm, but it still is super creamy and it lasts a little bit longer. I love this thing so much. I've been using it pretty much every day this month. I don't know if I've worn a powder bronzer over the last month, which kind of is crazy to me. I just can't stop using this. It's so quick, it's so easy, it's the perfect color, and because it's a cream product, I just think it helps just a little bit, preventing my face from looking too cakey, because sometimes I think when you layer too many powder products on top of your skin, especially if it's dry, things can start to look a little bit cakey. This definitely does not do that. I absolutely love this. I mean, I've talked about it to death. I feel like I don't need to say anything else about it. Love it. Definitely a favorite. Another thing that I wanted to share with you guys today, I'm actually kind of embarrassed to say that this is a favorite this month, but if I'm honest with myself, this thing has really grown on me and has kind of stole my heart, and it is the L'Oreal Paris Shake and Glow Dew Mist. I initially talked about this, I don't know if it was in like as a product, I don't know what video I talked about this in actually, but I mentioned this in kind of a negative way. I was a little bit annoyed. I can't remember off the top of my head how much this was, but it was over the $10 mark, and anytime a drugstore product creeps over that $10 mark, I often get a little bit annoyed, and I didn't think that this bottle was that big. I feel like 3 ounces is not that big of a setting spray. I know some people will disagree with me on that. There are a lot of setting sprays out there that come in like 1 ounce, which is even smaller than this, but for some reason I just was thinking for 10 bucks, I was hoping I would get more product than I actually did. But I have been using this thing more and more over the last couple of months actually, and I am just really, I've just fallen in love with this setting spray. There's so many things I love about this. Probably the number one thing that I love about this is the smell. I know that seems a little bit ridiculous, but this truly smells like heaven. The 2 seconds that I smell this when I spray it on my face, I feel like I'm at the spa, and I feel like that 2-second spa experience is very needed in my life. So I've been using this thing a lot. I also love this just as a setting spray. It does a really good job of setting down any powderiness, making my skin just look a little bit more dewy, a little bit more glowy, a little bit more luminous, which I am always up for. As much luminosity as I can get because I do have dry skin. The actual sprayer of this bottle is so wonderful. It gives you such a soft, beautiful mist. You don't get any harsh splatters anywhere. It's a beautiful setting spray, and I take back what I said. I think I would probably even consider getting this again. I probably would wait for this to go on sale though. I would probably wait for like a buy one get one half off kind of deal at Ulta before I bought this again, because I do still think $11 is a little bit pricey for me for a drugstore setting spray, but it is fantastic. I will not deny. Now I want to move on to a product that was actually a recommendation from one of you guys, and it is the Ulta Beauty Ultra Slim Brow Pencil. I got this during the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty, what was that, a month and a half ago, about 2 months ago, and this is amazing. I will say this retails for $10. I think that's a little bit pricey for any brow product for me. You guys know, if you've been watching my channel for a while, that I love a good cheap brow pencil. I love my e.l.f. brow pencil, and I love that thing because it is quick and because it is cheap. But I also recognize that I feel like I would like to be a little bit better at doing my brows, and part of that I know needs to come from a better brow product. And I think the slim brow pencils are really where it's at when it comes to having a little bit more precision, a little bit more shape to your brows. I have noticed such a big difference in the quality and shape of my eyebrows when I use this brow pencil. The reason I love this one specifically, I've tried other slim brow pencils, one of those being the ColourPop one, and the reason I don't love the ColourPop one is that one is very, very dry. I also find that it tends to break me out a little bit inside my eyebrows, which some of you mentioned it does that for you as well. But that ColourPop one is also so dry that sometimes when I take the cap off, a chunk of it falls out of the product, like it breaks. It kind of is so brittle that it actually breaks, and then a big piece of it falls out, and I feel like there's $1 just sitting on the floor that I wasted, and that's very frustrating to me. Even though that one's a little bit more affordable, I definitely prefer the consistency of this one. It's not overly creamy, but it is a little bit more creamy to where it's a little bit easier to apply. I just think it's the perfect consistency. This color is perfect for me. This is the color Ash Taupe. I also got it in the color Blonde. These both work for me. I think I prefer the Ash Taupe. It's just a little bit darker and a little bit cooler. This has just really stepped up my brow game. I feel like my brows have been looking so much better lately. I am by no means a pro yet, but I do think that they are looking a lot better, and this is the main reason for that. So I would recommend stocking Ulta's website. This thing does go on sale quite often. The Ulta Beauty brand products go on sale pretty often. You may not be able to find it for $5, which is what I found it for, but they often have a either buy two get one free or a buy one get one half off, which will help you save a little bit of money. $10 is a little steep, but I would absolutely pay $5 or $7, which I know you can often find this for that price on Ulta's website. Highly recommend, definite favorite, and thank you for recommending that product to me. So the next 3 favorites I have actually came kind of at the tail end of the month. I wasn't quite sure if I should sneak them into this video, but I've been using them every single day and absolutely am in love with them. And the first one being the Physicians Formula Organic Wear Dewy Blush Elixir. This one is in the color Gorgeous Peach. I featured this in my most recent video, which was filmed a little over a week ago, but I love this product. This was a recommendation from Jessica Braun, and I have to say, you guys, she was absolutely right. This is a gorgeous blush product. If you are into cream products, if you like a lot of dew and a lot of glow on your skin, I think that you'll absolutely love this. It's very easy to apply. I found this applied perfectly with a brush. I've tried it with my fingers, and it's one of the few creamy products that when I apply it with my fingers, because it goes on so easily, you don't have to work to blend it very hard, so it's not going to really lift up the product underneath. I really like applying cream products with my fingers, but sometimes if they have to be blended too much, I find that they disturb the foundation or the coverage that I have underneath them. This one, however, is much faster at laying down. You basically can just kind of tap in 4 or 5 times and you're good to go. It lasts for a really long time, which really surprised me because this doesn't set down. This stays almost tacky on your skin, but not in a sticky way, in the most beautiful, hydrated way. It's very hard to explain. I just have been absolutely impressed with this product. If you've been on the fence, it definitely has my stamp of approval. Next up is a highlighter. This is the Cody Airspun Loose Highlighter in the color Snow Much Ice. This was recommended to me by Melissa M. Beauty here on YouTube. It was her #1 ranked bronzer, so when I saw this in my drugstore, I had to grab this thing, and I have to say, you guys, it is stunning. I'm not wearing this on my face today because I'm wearing, actually just got done filming a video using the Hourglass palette, so I actually have Hourglass products on my face today, but you guys, I'm going to put a little bit of this on my nose. I did just use this in a video, so you probably can see in action that video, but for those of you that maybe are new, I'm going to show you guys just how glossy. This is just one of those highlighters that looks very almost wet looking. It's very intense, so if you are not into an intense highlighter, I don't think that you would like this, but it's also very natural looking. It's not super glittery. It doesn't emphasize textures. I'm going to put a little bit on my nose just so you can see how intense this is just with one swipe. So do you see how it kind of just gives you that like greasy look? And I know that probably most of us are not looking for like a greasy looking nose, but I kind of like it. This is just such a beautiful formula. The packaging is a little finicky to work with. I think loose highlighters in general can be a little messy, a little finicky to work with, but if you don't mind dealing with the packaging, the product inside is absolutely stunning. So next up, I want to mention an eyeshadow palette for you guys, and it may not be the one that you guys might be thinking. So I was this close to mentioning the Carli Bybel palette, but I decided not to officially mention this as a favorite because there's just a couple of things about this palette that I just don't 100% love, or I can't completely give it my like favorites approval. This shade right here gave me some pretty intense glitter fallout, and I've never had that problem with an Anastasia eyeshadow before. That's one of the biggest reasons that I couldn't include this as a favorites, because I definitely just struggled with this shade right here. It just gave me a lot of fallout on my face, which is kind of odd because it doesn't look that glittery, but there are just some random loose glitters in here that just are kind of a nuisance, which is so unfortunate because the shade itself is absolutely beautiful. I was also just a little bit disappointed with a couple things of the color story in here. These two shades are just way too similar to each other. I really wish that this shade would have been something else. I mean, honestly, I just feel like these two on the eyes look so very similar to each other. And again, while this one didn't give me as much glitter fallout, I did notice a couple of flecks of the multicolored glitter in here land on my face throughout the day. It definitely wasn't as bad as this one right here was, but more than anything, I just feel like these two shades are almost identical on the eyes, which was a little bit disappointing to me for an Anastasia palette. I kind of feel like Anastasia palettes, because they're a little bit more expensive, I have a higher standard for them. And when there's one or two things that are, in my mind, kind of wrong with them, I hold them a little bit more accountable to being perfect, which maybe is not fair, but I also think a lot of her palettes have been near perfect for me as far as their performance and their color stories go. So that's the reason I couldn't officially mention this as a favorite. I still stand by the review that I gave it. I think it's a nice palette. The color story in here is actually really beautiful. I think it's very different for Anastasia, so I know that there's a lot of people that do love this thing and that would love this palette. I just think because of those two issues that I have, and the packaging, that's another thing, is I just am not a fan of the packaging either. Those are the reasons I couldn't quite mention it in today's video, even though I like this palette. I really strongly like this palette. I just can't officially say it's a favorite. And I hate to say that because I know some of you guys are absolutely loving this palette. It's kind of your favorite one so far. That's just how I personally feel. And again, we're all different, and that's okay. But I do have another eyeshadow palette for you guys this month. Even though this one is relatively new to me, I've only had this one for a week and a half, and I'll explain to you guys kind of my reasoning behind picking this one over the other one, but it is the Profusion Sunkissed palette. I'm a big fan of the Profusion eyeshadow formula. I have another one of their larger palettes. I have a couple of their other powder products as well. I think for the price, they are fantastic quality. Now, I will say this is not going to give you Anastasia quality. If you are dipping into the mattes in here expecting intense one dip kind of pigment where you can basically dip your brush in one time, swish, 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 and then tap your finger into a shimmer, tap, 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 and have a beautiful pigmented eye look done in 7 seconds, this is not going to give you that. These definitely don't have the quality, the intense pigment, the richness that like an Anastasia palette would have or a Persona palette would have. But if you're willing to build them up just a little bit, you can get some beautiful looks out of here. I do think their mattes are super blendable. I think that they're pretty decently pigmented, especially considering the price. So this entire palette was $12.98 at Walmart. I did find this one to be a little bit difficult to find online. The only place I could find it online is on Profusion's actual website. I picked this up in my Walmart store though, so if you do have a Walmart near you that sells Profusion eyeshadows, you may be able to find this specific one in your Walmart. That's where I found this one, but I love this palette. It's such a fun color story. I really loved the look that I came up with these greens right here and some of these kind of yellowy golds. I've used the browns quite a bit in here. I've dipped in a little bit to these kind of mauvey pinks right here. I've used this orange and this bronze right here. I've even used this kind of, I don't know what color you would call that. It's almost like a taupey dark green. I don't know, but it's really beautiful on the eyes if you like a cooler toned eye look. This is just a really fun palette to play with. Now, if this palette would have cost me $42, would I be recommending it to you guys? Absolutely not. There's some things in here that I think I would be probably disappointed in. For example, these shimmers definitely do not go on like an Anastasia foiled shimmer does. You have to build them up a little bit or even wet them to give you that intense kind of foiled look. I just think they're really good quality for the price. So if you're someone that's budget conscious but you want to try out some color, you want to try out a new eyeshadow palette, I think Profusion is a really great place to look. So the last two things I want to mention for you guys is a lip combination. The first one being this right here. So this is an older lipstick. This is from L'Oreal and I don't think they make this anymore. You may still be able to find it. I've seen it on Amazon, but this is the L'Oreal exclusive collection in Jennifer's Nude. I love this lipstick. I know there are some people out there that don't love L'Oreal lipsticks because of the smell. I actually like the smell. It reminds me of my grandma, which I love my grandma. So, but I love the formula specifically of this one. So I'm not actually wearing it right now. I'm wearing a different combination. I'm going to go ahead and put this on for you guys so you can kind of see how it goes on. But I just love the creaminess of this lipstick. And the color. This is a perfect pinky nude for my skin tone. I love the way this looks with any eye look, except for maybe this one. I feel like this is maybe a little bit pink for my orange eyes, but that's okay. Way to contradict yourself, Mandy. But I love the way that this feels and looks on my lips. I love a creamy lipstick that gives my lips almost a little bit of volume to them. I don't know if that makes sense. It doesn't feel heavy, but it just makes my lips look a little bit almost plump. I don't know how else to explain it. Every time I put this lipstick on, I'm always like, oh wow, my lips look really, really good. And to go along with that, I also wanted to mention this gloss. I've been reaching for this gloss for the last couple of weeks. It's been living in my purse, and I forgot how much I love this gloss and how incredible it is. This is the e.l.f. lip gloss, the plumping lip gloss in the color Champagne Glam. I actually have 2 of these. The first one I owned, the lid broke off of it, so be aware. That's one thing when you're paying, what, $3 or $5 for a lip gloss. The packaging may not last forever, but if you like a good kind of minty, shimmery, plumping gloss that's semi-clear, this is a perfect gloss to go on top of any lip color. If you're not into that kind of minty, plumping effect, you probably wouldn't like this one, but I don't find this to be overly intense. I just really love this lip gloss. I've heard a lot of people talk about it on and off over the years, and I had kind of forgot about it. I've had this for many, many months, but I had not reached for it for a while, but I'm so glad that I kind of rediscovered this month, because if I'm looking for a good plumping gloss, this is just a really, really nice one. Alright guys, so that is it for my October favorites. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know, as always, I love hearing what your favorite products were from the month of October. Please let me know in the comments down below what products you guys have really been into, whether they are new or old. I'd love to hear from you guys. Thank you guys so much for stopping by today. I hope that you guys are looking forward to November. I hope that you have a fantastic day. I hope if you are not yet subscribed to my channel, you will consider doing that before you leave. And I will see all of you guys in my next video. Bye. But I definitely think that it's getting better, and this is definitely, stop saying definitely. $10 is, wait, did I say that twice? Hear me out, no, bad, okay. I caught my husband listening to Christmas music the other day. I walked into where he was working and I was like, is that Christmas music? I feel like I got through that really, really quickly. This might be a short video, although sometimes I think that and I end up underestimating how much I actually talked.